So one thing that was brought to my attention, and I found it just interesting just because I have a little backstory or a family story that's associated with it.
Okay.
Called the shopping cart theory. I don't know if you read this. It kind of circulated through Facebook recently, but it drew my attention. It looked like a Reddit post or a 4chan post or something like that. But it's the ultimate test on whether a person is capable of self-governing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the shopping cart theory. So there's a when you use a shopping cart in a store, you bring it out to your car, you take the stuff out of the shopping cart into your car, and then now you have the choice to either bring the shopping cart back or you don't. So it's an easy, convenient task. It's objectively right to return the cart, and then there's also no situation other than dire emergency to not bring it back. But there's no punishment for not returning it. So you gain nothing by returning it, just goodness of own heart, and it's the right thing to do. And it's like, if you're unable to do this, you're almost no better than an animal, because like you can't even fucking do one simple like task. You know what I mean? Like you can't do one simple good to society. It's like throwing away a trash wrapper. Like you can't even throw that out. You have to throw it on the ground because it's more convenient to you, and there's no fucking reason why you can't carry it an extra 20 seconds to go return and throw it out.
Not to interrupt you, but look at the fucking people that are leaving gloves and masks everywhere. Like it's a new social norm, and they're not able to take that extra step to be able to do it. But go ahead.
And the thing is, the reason why it would make it so you're no better than an animal is because it would prove that you will only do good if threatened or restricted by law or force. So like there's certain things that we can't do, like steal, because of law. You know what I mean? There's certain things we can't do because of certain forces. So that has no law bind to it, because if there was a law to return your shopping carts, people would be regularly doing it.
Sure.
So it's like this is almost the perfect way to explain that the shopping cart can kind of determine if a person is a good or bad person in society. Not good or bad moral wise, but or morale wise. It's good or bad as a society, because you are it's just a test if you're self-governing. It's a test if you have, like if you can be good for society. And I think one story, and I know it's brought up in the comments,
I
but
saw that too.
I had added it to my topic. So one funny story about my grandmother, and I'm sure you fucking remember the story, because it was such an outlandish story that like if we will remember it forever. Is so we were at a Burning Phil's or Jordan's or some sort of furniture store. I believe so. I feel like we were in Nashville.
I thought it was like a Costco or something, like a wholesale. But I don't want to step on feet. I thought it was like a Costco.
That's fine. I know it was in Nashua, and I know it was in conjunction with going to the furniture stores, because I know that was one of our main goals.
Yeah.
So there was this, I believe it was a mother and child.
Yeah, it was an Asian American.
I believe she was Asian American, because that's what made the story funnier to us. Yes. And I'll explain why without it being racist.
Costco.
So we were at Costco. Good call. So
sorry.
So our grandmother, so one thing that you'll notice, like if you ever travel to Canada, is the shopping areas that do have shopping carts aren't as littered with shopping carts as it would be in America. And I don't know if it's just because Americans are genuinely and stereotypically lazy and they won't shopping cart. But I feel like I've gone to Canada numerous times. I've lived there for the third of my life. And one thing you do see difference is the choice not to bring a shopping cart, because you know that someone's doing it anyways. You know what I mean? So you're like, what's the point of me returning it if someone's going to fucking take care of it for me?
Yeah, that's their job. That's what they're there to be paid for. It's like a butler.
Why the fuck are you going to clean your house if you've got someone behind you that's about to clean your house? Like, there's no fucking reason. But obviously there is. So so it's like, so my grandmother sees this Asian American mother and her child get into the car, leave the cart, and she was rip shit, and she fucking bangs on the window, and I'll say it in French and I'll translate it for you because most of our listeners are not French, and she goes, "Pala la, pala la."
She knocked on the window too. She knocked on the window. She goes, "Pala la, mete la, pala." Dude, fucking.
So the funny thing is the Asian American mother barely spoke a lick of English. Granted,
let alone
my grandmother's not speaking English. She's speaking straight up French. And what she's saying is, not there, there. So what she was doing was banging on the window, pointing at the shopping cart a couple feet away from this minivan, pointing at the shopping cart fucking you know, like where you drop off your shopping cart drop off point. And she was yelling at her in French while she didn't even speak English. She said, no, speak English. And she fucking was bitching at her for not bringing back her cart. And it brings it all back to that. I feel like the shopping cart theory is a good way, honestly, just from a psychology standpoint, to judge if someone is self-governing and if someone is good or bad in society, because it's hard to say, because there's people that over embellish they're good for society, or not over embellish, but they go over and beyond the norm, societal norm for doing stuff for society. Well, they'll donate their time
without being praised for it, without wanting to thank you or anything. Just doing
they'll
it
go
just
to a
do
food
it.
bank and donate their time or donate their food or whatever. And then it's like, what about for the me and yous of the world? And I don't want to bring you into, you know, the me of the world, but it's like, I feel like I don't really do anything for society, but I don't do anything bad at the same, you know, I don't litter, I don't pollute, I don't, you know, I try to like pick up after myself. So like I'm self-sustaining and I almost don't exist, where it's like, I'm not doing any bad, but I'm not doing any good. And it's like,
you're like a chaotic neutral.
Or just a neutral, you know what I mean? So it's, I think it's that whole mentality of like, I'm almost self-governed because I don't need law or law enforcement or force to tell me what to do, what's good for society. I just, by my mere morale or morals in general, push me in that direction, just because I feel like this is the right direction. And even if it's something slighted to the bad, I think it's for the better good, I guess.
I wanna take, because I really like the idea of the shopping cart. I want to take it at a more philosophical standpoint and ask you, because I'm like thinking while you're talking, I've already like got an idea for this.
Just I know, and you know, but you're a return your shopping cart guy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Every time. I will never leave
you if it's not returned.
Oh yeah, even if I see a shopping cart sometimes that's like not in there, I will push it there if I'm close enough. Might as fucking well. So I've always been that kind of guy. But do you think that people would... Oh, and this is aside the shopping cart. This is like a self-governing question. Do you think people would have that ability to be self-governed if there weren't rules in place?
No.
Okay. Because I'm thinking back to, as long as my history provides, not dinosaurs, but in terms of a religious aspect, going into the Bible, even the Bible had the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments were in place so that people had a frame of reference to say, okay, this is bad, this is good.
The 10 Commandments then was no different than the amendments now. You know what I mean? Like it's no different. It was, I'm sure we view it as a guidelines, but I'm sure it was kind of a little bit enforced, just because you think about how powerful the Bible is now. Imagine 2,000 years ago.
Exactly. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I wonder if there would be people that could, well, there's obviously people that could probably self-govern without rules, but it's probably like the 1%. Not saying the 1% as in the income-based 1% that we know now, or milk, but no, but fucking what was I gonna say? I don't think people would be able to do it, and that's why like there's ideas like the purge and things like that. Because without a government, like, there would be no one.
If we're given the opportunity to just build an anarchy, the anarchy is viewed as chaotic because it would be chaotic. I mean, I'm sure there's a multitude of experiments that show, like, if someone was given the opportunity to be as chaotic as possible or as neutral as possible, they would sway more chaotic because they've been restricted by the rules. But then it drives back to your question that if there was never rules, would it sway that way? But I feel like by enforcing rules, it pushes people in a direction, because if they're chaotic, then they don't know where to put their energy into.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like all this energy that's just it's I mean, you want to bring it back to the beginning. So the reason why you are doing all these miscellaneous chaotic chores is because you have all this energy that you have nothing to drive yourself to do it with. So if you're able to push society forward with your occupation or your career or a certain goal or like aspiration, that's where your energy kind of goes into. While if you have no kind of enforcement or restrictions to push you in that direction, and I'm not saying the direction is correct, like 100% correct. I'm just saying there is a direction which so if you got to think right now, I'm picturing it in a math sense. So if you're in a center and you're chaotic, you're going to move only inches in every single direction. You know what I mean? You picture a 360 circle around you. You're only going to go a couple inches, and it's going to kind of look like an oval to a degree, depending on ways you like. But if you're pushed in a vector, all these inches, like where it's like 2 inches here, 2 inches here, 2 inches there, 2 inches there, and then you add up all that, and you're almost guidelined into a streamline angle, you're going to go 20 inches in this direction, rather than diverting your energy everywhere. So it's almost like the eggs in a basket type of thing. It's like, don't put all your eggs in a basket, but the reverse, I guess, of it. Where it's like, if you put your eggs in every little basket, you don't really get anywhere. But if you put 20 eggs in one basket, it's a much more plentiful.
Dude, it's so fucked up that you think about. Dude, all right, this is just a side. Like, this has ended. This conversation has ended. This topic has ended. And I'm just gonna say, it's so funny that the first thing I thought of was a book, and it's The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which I had talked about when we first started the podcast. And what you're thinking about it is in a math sense. So I literally went right towards literature, and you went right towards math, which is just so fucking funny, like the spectrum of us, and we're still able.
That's how we've always been. I always feel that, like, we're opposites of, like, of the brain or whatever, where it's like one is very analytical with math and statistics, and one's very creative with literature and everything. So it's like, it would make sense that I'm thinking about it like mathematical and statistical and everything, and you're going like, oh, well, this is a perfect literature analogy for what I'm thinking about. Or I don't even know the reference that you were talking about.
Yeah, it was back in the day. It was like a post-apocalyptic world that people were like chaotic, and it was a family trying to stay under the radar and do as much good as they could. So it was just going through. I think that's what we talked about when we said, like, we ran a clip called like a post-apocalyptic world, like what would you do and stuff like that. So it's just funny that we went in total fucking opposites way, but we have the same idea. We meet.